Hello and welcome once again to my channel. So before I start today's video, I want like to show you a few things. So when you go to my channel, I have two tutorial series I'm currently doing. So I have one, employee record management with Python. So this one I'm using Python, Django, and React.js to build this. And the goal of this tutorial is to introduce you to these technologies before we now build a bigger application, which is a learning management system, just like that functions just like Udemy and Coursera. So I don't just want to jump into building such kind of huge application because a lot of my audience don't have prior programming experience. So I want to start with, a much more simple application, which is an employee record management system to get you familiarized with these technologies before we build a web-based learning management application. And then we're also gonna build the mobile version of it using Django, Python, and React Native. So then the second tutorial series I have, or which it was the first actually, I started it first, is okay. I'll just have to go to my playlist. Yeah, my playlist. Yeah. So this is a playlist. So the first one is this that you have here, Django and React Employee Record Management Web App, which I told you that the goal is to build a learning management system that has functions like Udemy and Coursera. So both students and teachers can go on the platform, create their courses, buy courses, see their dashboard and all the rest. And then when we're done with this employee record management system, you must have familiarized yourself with Django, Python, and React.js. Then we'll now build a learning management system using same technologies, and then we'll also build a mobile version using React Native. Now, the second tutorial series I have is a web-based um, application that has the functionalities of Uber, Airbnb, and Booking.com. So you can book a room inside the platform. You can list your room. Hotels can register, list their rooms and their properties, and then people can book rooms just like we have on booking.com. And then we'll also include Uber features, so people can list their vehicles and you book a vehicle, stuff like that. So for this application we are using Django, Python, Bootstrap, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, jQuery, and some other technologies and libraries. So if you want to learn the boat, then you can watch the boat tutorial series. But if you want to learn one first, especially if you need the skills urgently, then you can pick one of them and learn. When you've mastered one of them, you can now jump over to the next tutorial series and learn. But the technologies used are very identical. It's just that with this, we are not using React, but with this, we are using React. So that's it. Now we're gonna start our application, and then yeah, we're gonna make a few changes to our application, and then for today's lecture, we'll be connecting our backend to our front end. So on the last tutorial series, I've shown you how to create your views. You create your views that will display the form on the front end and also save it. Yeah, so if you go to your authentication app, you go to views, you'll see the code define register. So this register is going to display a user registration form where the user can create his password, his email, his username, their username, and then also create their user profile, such as their first name, last name, nationalities, mobile number, and so on. And then we also created our forms, which is gonna display the form on the HTML template. So we have our user registration form, which captures username, email, and password. And then we have our profile form. So our profile form is gonna capture. We want to capture profile picture, cover photo, first name, last name, date of birth, address, line 1, address, line 2, nationality, city, and so on and so forth. So what we're trying to do is, I'm just going to open my web page and show you. We're trying to do something like this. So for example, this is a Facebook registration page. Yeah. And then when you want to register for Facebook, it asks you your first name, input your first name, input your surname, your mobile number, your password, and then date of birth, basic information about you, and then you sign up. This is exactly what we're trying to achieve, but this is for Facebook, but yeah, this is what we're trying to achieve. Once you input this information and the information is valid, and then you click on sign up, it creates your account. So that's exactly what we're trying to do now. Yeah, so we have our form, then we've already created it. We've also created our models, which is like our database table. So we have the user model, which extends abstract user. So this is not the first video in this series. This is like the 8th video. So if you really don't understand what I'm saying, go back to my videos and watch from the beginning. And then we also have the user profile model, which saves the user, the first name, last name, profile picture, nationality, and so on and so forth. So yeah. Now, what we're gonna do is to connect our backend to our front end. So we're gonna display the form on the front end interface, and then when the user inputs the information and the informations are valid, it's gonna save inside the database and create the user's account. So before we continue, just go to your authentication app and then go to views.py. Now, I have my first if. This if statement is checking if the method is post, and then yeah, this is a variable. Form equals user registration form, and profile form equals profile form. This is a variable name. Profile form is calling from the forms.py. This is a profile form, and then user registration form is also calling from forms.py, which is this as well, user registration form. So now these two variables, form and profile form, are holding user registration form and profile form. We've passed these forms to this variable. Now, so after this if statement, we have another if statement. This is a nested if structure. And then for this if statement now, for this if statement, we're gonna say something. So remember, this is this is if form is valid. So what should happen if the form is not valid? If the form is not valid, now put your cursor at the end of this space. Yeah, let it be on the same line as this second if indent. Say else colon enter. Then say print form dot errors. So we're saying that if the form is not valid, when the user inputs their details and the information is not valid, it should print the error. So we want to see that it should say, okay, maybe first name is missing or your email address is not in the right format or stuff like that. So we know we have to debug. Then I can also say print because we have two forms. I'm just gonna put it on the second line. So form, and so profile form dot errors, profile form dot errors as well. So take care of your indentation, make sure they are on the same line. And then here, I think in my last lectures, it was dashboard I put here because I wanted the user to navigate to the dashboard page after they've created their user registration details. But for now, I don't have any URL or any page called dashboard. So this is gonna generate an error. Rather, when the user inputs their username and their details, it should navigate to home rather. So home is a URL. So you are saying return redirect home. Where is this home coming from? Go to your main application folder, book and ride. And then if you go to the views, you're gonna say define home. This is a function. Request, return, render, request home.html. This is a template. This is the name of the function, which can be anything. Now, if you go to your URLs inside Book and Ride, go to your urls.py. You're gonna see it, paths, empty paths, views.home, name equals home. It is this home that we are calling up here, home. So the name of this URL is home. And I explained to you why this is an empty path. An empty path is gonna be your landing page. So these views, when you start your server, is gonna be your home page. This is the first page that is gonna display. Once you put an empty path, that is what it means. So views.home, name equals home. Now, if you go to your views, views.home, so go to your views, you see the function views. So we are saying it should render home.html, and this is, if you go to our template section, you see home.html. This is home.html. So this URL goes to these views, because we said views.home. There's a function called home on our views. It goes to these views, and then these views opens up this home.html, renders this home.html, and on this home.html we just have a simple information. Hello world, you just created your first web application with Django. So that is it. So back to our authentication app. Now if you go to the views here, you will see that I'm saying when everything is successful, it should redirect the user to home.html. Now, also take care of your first if statement. This if statement, look at the indentation. This second else statement should be on the same line with this if statement. So this if statement, I need to zoom this. Let me close some of the spaces so you see my screen fully. I'm gonna remove this comment I put for you. So you can put your own comment, you can put your own single line comment, but I need some space so I can display my full screen. Yeah, so this if statement should be on the same line as this second else statement. The indentation should be the same, while this if statement should be correctly indented with this else statement. So this if statement, this is the else statement that closes it, and this if statement, this is the else statement that closes it. Now, there was a little mistake on what I didn't add. On the last video, we don't have request.files. I didn't include it now. So now go to your code. On this line, put a comma, type request.files. Now I added request.files because this profile form has a picture field. It has two picture fields. Now, whenever you want to capture a picture, you must add request.files. Here, there is no request.files because we're just capturing the username, email, and password. But on this profile form, we're capturing an image. So you need to add request.files. Otherwise, it's not going to work. Now, go to my forms.py. You will see, this is it. Profile picture equals image field. Cover photo equals image field. And I say on my model here, I'm displaying, I want to capture profile photo and cover photo as well. Now take note, look at your code. I think on the last lectures, I didn't declare this as an image field. So make sure that you change cover photo to image field in your code. Also change profile picture to image field on your code. And this is gonna give an issue. This DOB, this is small letter DOB, while this is big letter DOB. So Python is case sensitive. This DOB has to be exact with this. So I'm just gonna change this to DOB. So I explained to you what all these are meant to do. Now, if you come to this Facebook registration page, you see first name inside this box, surname inside this box, mobile number or email address inside this box, new password inside this box. This is exactly what we have here. So these are the fields that I want to display in my user profile model. And now I come and say first name which is found in this field. I say forms.text input attribute equals placeholder, enter your first name. This enter your first name, that is what is displaying here, this first name. So this can be any message you want to display for the user to know that this field is for first name field. You can simply say first name or whatever you want, you know. So we have the same thing, last name, address 1, address 2, nationality. So all these placeholder text, the placeholder text are what is gonna display inside this text input fields. So yeah, now I think everything looks good on our form, and everything looks good well as well on our views. Now the next thing we need to do is we need to create a URL for this function. So what is a URL? A URL is an address, universal resource locator. Now, when you come to this place, look, the URL is sign up, facebook.com/sign up. Now, we're gonna create ours as well. So come to your authentication model, right click here, say new file, call it urls.py, urls.py. And then you're gonna type some code here. So the first thing you want to do is uh, from Django, from Django.urls, import paths. Then the next thing you want to do is from dot views. Now from dot import views. So this dot means from this directory. The reason is because both views and urls.py is inside authentication directory. So you say from dot import views. So it's gonna import, you'll be able to use all the functions inside your views.py once you make this import. Assuming you wanted to import the views on this book and ride folder, then it's not gonna be dot. You're gonna say from book ride import views, because the views in book and ride is not on the same directory as your urls.py. So that is that. I'm just gonna close it. Now you wanna say urls pattern, url patterns, take care of your spelling, equals square brackets, enter, and then you say paths, open a bracket, quote, say user registration, and then give a forward slash, and then put a comma, type views dot the name of the function now. The name of the function is register. So you copy it, views dot register. We are able to use this register function in views.py because we have imported everything in views here. Now put a comma and say name equals register. This register is just a name. It can be anything. You can call it register user or whatever you want to call it. It's just a reference name. If you want to use these views on your HTML template, then you will use this name attribute to refer to it. But this cannot be anything. This must be the name of your function in your views, which is the register. Now, this can be anything. It can be anything. Just the way you have sign up here. Look, / sign up here. That's what we have here. So on our URL, we are going to have user registration as well. It can be anything whatsoever. Now, this is done. The next thing you want to do, you need to add this URL inside your main project folder, inside your main project URL. So this is an app, this is an authentication app. This is our main project, book and ride. This is the main directory. We have our urls.py. So any URLs you create inside any app, you have to call it up on your main directory urls.py. So come to your urls.py here, and then you have to include it. So say paths, open a bracket, quotes, call it authentication / comma, and you say include, open a bracket, quotes, authentication dot URL. Now, don't forget to put a comma after each of the URL. So put a comma here as well. Now, this authentication can be anything. You can use any name or any word that you want. So this is what is gonna happen. It's gonna open our IP address, maybe 192.120.6:8000, then followed by a / this now authentication, followed by a / authentication, followed by a / and then it's gonna go. So we are saying include authentication.url. So it's gonna go inside this authentication is the name of your app, but this can be anything. But I just call it the same thing as the name of my app. So it's gonna go into my authentication app, go to the URLs, and then it's gonna pick this URL, user registration. So this URL that I've defined will be like this. Do you understand? This is the URL, this is the address is gonna be just like the way we have on Facebook here. So it has https www.facebook.com/signup. This is the URL. Now our own doesn't have a domain like facebook.com or uber.com or whatever, because we've not hosted it. So this is running on our local machine. That is why it's using this IP address. By the time we're ready for hosting, we'll buy a domain name. So we're gonna, maybe our domain name can be book and ride. So then our URL is gonna be like this, book and ride. So it's gonna be www.bookandride.com/authentication, which is this authentication / user registration, which is here. So that is that. So I'm just gonna delete this. Yeah. So now I have included our authentication app URLs to this. and then make sure you are saving your file. Go to File, click on Save All. Now we have to go back to our authentication app, go to the views.py, and then let's see something. Now at the bottom, we are saying return render authentication register.html. Now my register.html, I want to put it inside a folder called authentication. That is why it's like this. So we're saying register.html is in a folder called authentication. Now, authentication can be anything. This authentication can be anything. But I love calling my folder name authentication because my app name is authentication. So all my HTML files that are related to this app, I want to call it the same name. So when I go to my template folder, I'll just click on authentic. I'll know that, okay, all the HTML files inside authentication folder is for my authentication app. Now, if I call this something different, maybe I call it folder 1, for example, and by the time I have numerous apps and numerous folders, I wouldn't know that folder 1 is for authentication app. Folder 1 has all the HTML files for authentication app. You get what I mean? So that is why I do my naming convention this way. So now you have to create a folder called authentication. So you go to your templates, right click, click on new folder, call it authentication. So all the HTML files I have for my authentication app is gonna go in here. Now click on this authentication folder, create a new file, call it register.html. Register.html. So now when I have another maybe when I want to do change password, for example, now change password HTML is also gonna go into authentication. So whenever I go to my template folder, I see authentication, I know that, okay, this authentication folder holds all the HTML files for my authentication app. When I create another app, call it maybe payment app, I'm gonna create another folder here, call it payment as well, and put all the HTML files related to payment app inside it, so you can easily manage everything. Now register.html, so I created this because on my views, on my authentication and views, this function, I want to render the form, this form that we created, the user registration form and the profile form. I want to display the forms inside register.html. I want to display them inside register.html. That's why I had to create it. So this function, everything is gonna be executed inside this register.html when the user fills their details and submits it. Now, so I'm gonna go to my register.html file and then render my form there. Now, the first thing you want to do in register.html is to generate your HTML boilerplates. You don't need to memorize this boilerplate code, HTML boilerplate code, because it's the same thing. So one one of the easiest way to generate your boilerplate is to press down shift and exclamation sign. Once you press it down, you see the first one will be highlighted, a single um, exclamation sign will be highlighted. Just press enter. So it has generated my HTML boiler templates. Now, if this doesn't work for you, simply go on your web browser, go to a new tab and type HTML boilerplates. HTML boilerplates. There are lots of them. They are the same thing. You're gonna find them on a lot of websites. Click on this and then scroll down. So This is it. This is HTML boilerplate. Copy it. Some of them may differ a little bit. You just have to delete what you don't want. And then I'm just gonna paste it. I'll paste it side by side so you see. So this is the one I generated, and this is the one that I copied on the web. Now you want to delete, if you copy it on the web, delete this, delete link. Well, this style sheet, we don't have this style sheets, so delete it. But even if you leave it, your code is still gonna run. Delete it. Delete this index.html as well. Index.js scripts. We don't have such scripts. That's all. You can leave every other thing. Now, this title is gonna be the title of your page. So I'm just gonna delete one of the boilerplates. Now, in here, put your title. So our title is gonna be registration form, for example. Registration form. Now, I want to display our forms inside of my HTML. Remember, on our authentication app and views, we've passed all these functions and all these forms, we've passed it to register.html, so we can actually use what is in here. We can use a form in here, form and profile form, because we've passed them as a context dictionary. This is it. So we are saying context dictionary equals, this is a dictionary, we declare the dictionary, we say form colon form, profile form colon profile form, and then we pass the context here. If you don't pass this context here, then you wouldn't be able to display these two forms inside your register.html. So because we've passed it as a context dictionary, we can actually use this form now on our register.html. So go back to your register.html and then open a tag, call it, say form method equals post, form method equals post. Now, this action is not necessary, but I love including it so that once I see my form, once I see any form, I don't need to contemplate which action is calling or not. So I'm just going to add it. Action equals, action would be open a curly brace. Once you open it, it closes. Put percentage, give a space, type URL, um, quote, then it's a register. Now, this register, it's a register. Now, this register, if you come to our authentication app, go to urls.py, you will see the name equals register. So I'm now referencing it using this name. If you call this register one, for example, or anything, that is what you're gonna input here. You're gonna call the name here. So we're saying our form action URL should be register. And then don't forget to close your percentage sign. Now, the next thing you have to do is say end type multi-path form that data, and then you close it. Once you close it, your form is gonna close. Press enter to bring it down. End type multi-path form data, because there is a particular form that has a file input. Go to my views. I told you that this profile form have a section where we need to upload a profile picture and cover photo. And that is why we said request.files here. Likewise, on our register.html, you need to put this because this form will use it to display we'll use it to display this form, profile form, which has the profile picture and cover photo. Profile picture image field, cover photo image field as well. So if you don't add end type multi-part form data, it's not gonna work. Now, the next thing you wanna do once you declare a form, you want to include CSRF token. It's called cross-site request forgery token. It's gonna protect your form against hackers, against malwares. Sometimes you go on the internet and you put your credit card or you put your information, and then uh, hackers can just hijack your information because that particular form is not protected. But with CSRF token, it's gonna be protected from cross-site request forgery. Now, open a curly brace and then put a percentage and then type CSRF underscore token, and then don't forget to close your percentage sign as well. That is done. Now the next thing you want to do is to call your forms. So which are the forms that we want to call? Go to your views. This is a form that we want to call. This form and this profile form. Remember, these forms, this form is what we declared here. Form equals user registration form. Profile form equals profile form. And this user registration form is a form we declared on our forms.py. These are the forms. So we declared forms.py. We went to our views. We called them here. We passed them to form. We passed our profile form to profile form. And then we later passed them after we wrote our logic, our backend logic that is going to capture all the fields from the form and then save it to the database. We pass the form as a context dictionary. We declare the context dictionary and pass the context dictionary to our register.html so we can use it. So you simply copy this form, go to register.html. Now open a curly brace, open curly brace. It's gonna be two curly brace, and then you say form dot as underscore p as underscore paragraph. If you simply leave form like this, it's gonna work. But I want my form to display line by line. That's why I say it should display as paragraph, different paragraph. Form dot as underscore p. Now we need to render two forms. This is our first form, which captures the username, email, and password. When you go to the forms.py, you see the user registration form. We've passed it here. We've passed it to a variable called form, and it's gonna capture email, password, yeah, and username. And then we also have, go back to our forms.py, we also have our profile form, which captures all these fields: your profile picture, your cover photo, your first name, your last name, date of birth, address, and all the rest. So this user profile form, go to my views. Yeah, we've passed it into profile form. So copy the profile form, which has been passed as a context dictionary as well. Go to your register.html, do the same thing, to curly brace, Control Z, it's complete rubbish. Profile form dot as underscore p as well. Now, so we've passed the both form in our register.html, and these two forms can be visible now once we go to register.html. Now, the next thing that we need to do is we need to add a button so that when the user finish filling the forms, he can click on save or click on submit, just like you have on this Facebook sign up page. Look, this sign up. So put a tag, say button, press enter. Type is gonna be submit. Type equals submit. And then you close your tag. Once you close it, it's gonna close the button, and then inside it you type your message. You can say sign up, sign up, just as you have here, sign up. Or you can say save, or um, whatever you want. So I'm just gonna leave it as sign up. We're done. We've just implemented what they have here. We created our model, the database table, so that when the user inputs all this information, it saves inside the database, which we have on our models.py. These are the fields. We created our forms to render it as an HTML here, and then we created our views that connects our front end to our back end, and captures all the information that has been imputed inside the form and saves to the database. And then we created our register.html to display the form. Now, this lectures is a full stack development course, but I will concentrate on the backend logic. You see, I didn't do much on our front end. I didn't beautify it like this. I'm not beautifying it yet because I want us to concentrate on the backend logic, which is the main deal here. When we finish building the application, we'll now start styling our pages and beautify it. Now, the next thing you want to do is, if I go to my if I come back to this Facebook sign up page, I go back. I'm just gonna say Facebook. I'm just gonna go to facebook.com, for example. This is facebook.com. So this is like the landing page. This is like the landing page. Now on this landing page, you have a link. You have create a Facebook page, or you click on create new accounts. When you click on create new account, it's gonna navigate you to this sign up page. On our home page as well, remember, let me go to our home page. Our home page just displays hello world. You just created your first web application with Django. Now I want to keep a link on this home page, so I can ask the user to sign up for their account from this home page. So when the user clicks, it takes them to this register.html page. Now I can simply say sign up here. Now when I say sign up here, I need to add um, the link. Now, so to add this as a link so that it will link to the to the register page, you need an href tag. So inside this, I'm just gonna delete EFS so you don't get confused. I'm gonna create an a tag, open a tag, type a href. After the href, you open a curly brace, percentage sign, taking it gradually. Give it space, type URL, quotes, register. And then you can give a space, close your percentage sign, then you close your tag. Once you close the tag, the a closes as well. Then inside this tag you type here. So it means I've enclosed here in an href tag. So this means that when you click on here, it will hyperlink you, it will link you to this register.html. Assuming my href tag encloses the sign up as well. I'm gonna cut it. Assuming it's like this, then both sign up and here will be hyperlinked. So whether you click on sign up or you click on here, it's gonna navigate you to register.html. But if you enclose only sign up or only here in an a tag, then just this here is gonna be hyperlinked. So we're gonna save our changes and then we'll spin up our server and see if there is no error, everything should work well. But if there's an error, we're gonna fix it. Now go to these three dots, go to your terminal, go to your new terminal, and then type python manage.py run server. Python manage.py run server to spin up your development server and press enter. Yeah, there is something I noticed on my former application, on the last application we built. So I'm just gonna check it very quickly. Forms. Um, I think there is something that I imported. I was saying form.forms import user profile. If you have this kind of code in your from the last lectures, then remove it. This is a circular import. Just remove it and just import your user profile here. So you say from authentication.models, import user profile. So in model, we have our user model. We also have our user profile model. So yeah, so just make sure that your code is like this, and then also check this. Make sure the cover photo is declared as an image field, and this is also an image field. Yeah, so now I've spinned up my development server. You can click on this link, or you copy the link and paste on your web browser. Follow this link now. Just give it a few seconds to open up the page. Now it's up and running. So this is our home page. Hello world, you just created your first web application with Django. Sign up here. So this is what I was explaining. Because our link is wrapping around here, just here is highlighted. So I'm gonna take this sign up here to a new line. Now go back to your home.html. That's where we have the code. And then before the sign up, open a p tag, p, and close the p tag. Once you close it closes by itself. Just cut this p and put it at the end here. So when you open a tag, you close a tag. This is forward slash. So I'm gonna save all, and refresh my page. So you see it has it's down now. Now when I click on here, it takes me to the registration page. This is my registration URL. Now look at my code. I say href URL register. Where is register coming from? Register is this from our authentication app. We have URL, we have register. The name is register. Now this register URL is going to views.register. It will open this views.register, which is this views.register. And when you perform this method, it's gonna display, it's gonna save, and then these views, this register views is displaying our form and our profile form. That's why we have our profile and profile form here. If you look at our register page, register.html, you see we've called form and profile form. And I told you this .asp will make your fields, will place them on different paragraphs. Now, look at my URL. This is it. My IP address and authentication. Now, authentication, this authentication is coming from my main project URL when I included my authentication app URL. So you go to my book and write main project URL, go to URLs. This is it, authentication. This authentication, it goes inside this authentication folder. This authentication folder, it calls it authentication / user registration. This user registration is coming from, go to my authentication app URL. This is user registration. So if I change this to reg, for example, and I also change my main URL to reg, reg, reg12, whatever, go back to file, save all, and then go back to your page. I'm just gonna go back, refresh the page, and then click here again. Look, so this is my URL. It has changed, reg123, which is this reg123, and then reg, which is on my app level URL, which is reg. So I'm gonna change it back to what it was, user registration, and then I'm gonna go back to this place, click Ctrl Z, authentication. I'm gonna click on file, save all, go back to my web browser, just go back, refresh the page, and then it's gonna change the URL again. So whatever you want your URL to display, that's what you can have here. Just what we, just like what we have, on Facebook. Now we're gonna fill this form, and if everything is all right, it's gonna save to the database. So I'm gonna type my username as Midas. I think I have Midas already. Midas me as my username. My email address gonna be midasme@gmail.com. Password, now it's giving you password hints, but when we start designing our interface, we'll take off all these password hints. Now choose file, profile picture. I'm just gonna go to my desktop. Do I have, okay, select a picture, my cover photo, select the cover photo. First name, or anything I want, last name, anything I want. DOB, date of birth, I'm just gonna select this. Now, if I come to this year, you see it's showing 2026. Nobody can be born in 2026 while we are still in 2024. So later on in the project, I'm gonna write the code that is gonna validate this and make sure that a certain date range cannot be selected. But for now, I'm just gonna choose anything for testing purposes, and then address line 1, anything, nationality Japan, city Texas, zip code whatever I want, mobile number whatever I want, and then let me remove this at here, and then let me say email is not complete. We're gonna see what it's gonna show. Now before I submit the form, look, these words you have here: password confirmation, profile picture, cover photo, first name, last name, are the names of my field. But if I remove this now, this last name is, if you go to your forms, go to your form.py, On this placeholder, look, last name, address 1, address 2. That is what you have inside this placeholder, address 1, address 2. So if you change uh, the content of your placeholder, that is exactly what is gonna display here as well. Now, so this is why we use placeholder. Now, even if I remove all this placeholder, it's just gonna display the forms without this text inside of it. So yeah, that is that. Now I'm gonna click on sign up. Now you see I didn't include at, and it's saying please include an at in the email address. So it's well validated. I'm gonna click on save again, sign up. Okay, so we have an error here. It's saying attribute error at authentication user registration. Um, request object has no attribute files. There's a mistake. This is supposed to be request.files. So go back to my register. Um, no, go back to my views. It's on my views. Yeah, this is it. So change it. It's supposed to be request.files. Yeah. So click on save all. I'm gonna go back to my home page. I'll click on sign up here, fill in the form again. That's me. And I'm gonna choose the files again. Yeah, and then click on sign up. Oh, I didn't select the dates. Mm, I'm just gonna select any dates for now. Sign up. So it has worked. It has saved our record inside the database. That is why it navigated back to our home page. This is the code that performed that action. So here I'm saying if everything is successful and everything is saved, then it should return redirect to home. So now I'm gonna go to my admin panel and check if the record was saved. So go to your IP address, put a /admin and press enter. And then I'm just gonna put my email and my password. Um, Now I have logged into my admin panel and then come to users. So yeah, this is the record I just created, that's me. So users, click on it. This is the time and this is the information. If I go to my user profile, you'll also see that's me. Click on it. Yeah, this is the information I saved. So it has been recorded, it has been saved. Remember, I told you we have two tables, the user table and the user profile table. So immediately, let me show you. Let me go back to the sign up page. This is the first table: username, email, password, confirm password. After this is the user form, this is the user model, and then the user profile model starts from your from this profile picture to this point. So on my code, um, here I said if form that is valid, this form is a user registration form that creates the email, the password, and the username. So it saves that information first. Then it now passes, I say profile equals profile form dot save commit equals false. I'm not committing it at this point. I'm just saving it without committing. Then I say profile.user, because if you go to your models, you're gonna see user. This is the profile model. User equals models.one-on-one field is a foreign field user. So immediately this user has been saved, it passes this user account to this profile. So you create your username and password. It will also create a user profile for you. So yeah, that is that. Our record has been saved. Just play around it. And then one last thing I want to do is, I talked about GitHub on one of my videos. So at this point, I'm just gonna push all my codes to GitHub again. I'm going to update it, and then I'm gonna drop the link of the project source code is on the description of the video, on the description of the channel here. So I'm still gonna drop it on the description of this particular video. So if you have any issues, just download the source file, compare my code with yours. If you can't resolve the issues, drop a comment on the comment section of the video, and then I'm gonna help you out. I'm gonna respond to your questions. If need be, I will schedule a meeting with you and then help you out. So to upload this code that we've been doing on GitHub, I'm gonna stop my server. So I press Ctrl C to end my server. So remember the code: git add -a. Press enter. Git add -A. Press enter. Make sure that while you are doing this, you're connected to the internet. So to push my codes to GitHub, I typed git add -A and enter. Now remember, we've already created our repository in one of the lectures. I've told you how to do everything. So I just want to push what we've done so far to GitHub. Now the next code you need to type is git commit -m open a quote and put your commit message. So I'm just gonna put a message where we are currently on the video. So what we did is user registration. So your commit message can be anything, but just use where you are, the stage of the project you are. So when you go to your GitHub, you can see, okay, you made this commit at this particular stage, and then you press enter. So it's git commits -m and your commit message. So in my commit message, I stated where we are on the project. I say user registration. You can put any commit message, but this has to be this. Now the last thing you need to do is git push origin master, and you press enter. Git push origin So give it some time to push everything to your GitHub, and then yeah, you have to be connected to the internet, otherwise it's not gonna work. Um, Fail to push some refs. So once you type git push origin master, it performs this action and then it's successful. So I'm just gonna go to my GitHub account now, and yeah, look, it say updated 1 minute ago, 1 minute ago. So all my codes have been pushed to the GitHub account. I'm gonna drop the link, and then yeah, I'm gonna drop the link for you, so my you can download the codes and then compare with yours in case you have any issues. So yeah, so like I said, we're gonna finish our backend logic. Then after that, after we're done with all the backend logic, then we're gonna face our front end. So yeah, don't fail to subscribe to this channel so that you receive a notification immediately I drop a video. Because if you don't do that, you wouldn't know when I've dropped a new video. And don't fail to like and also share my channel with your friends and those people that you want to become developers. I actually started development before I gained admission to the university for my undergraduate study, and I did my first project while I was in 200 level for a final year student. Yeah. So if you have any issues, don't struggle alone, because if you struggle alone, you might end up getting frustrated and you may drop out. So you can write to me. My email is evansboma@gmail.com. But first, you have to drop a comment on your question on the comment section so other people can benefit from your question. And then, yeah, the next video I'm going to make is for our employee record management system using React.js and Python Django. Now, yeah, so I'll see you again in the coming days. Bye bye.